How you doing, good people? This is the 8-Bit Animal. Okay, so Technos Japan makes this groundbreaking beat 'em up called Double Dragon. It's released in the US market for as far as home consoles go for the Atari 2600, Atari 7800, Nintendo Entertainment System, and Sega Master System, among others. Two best versions are the Nintendo Entertainment System version that was published by Trade West, and the Sega Master System version that was, I want to say it was published by Sega. And those two home versions were very different from each other. While the Master System version was very close to its arcade counterpart, the NES version was completely different in that it didn't have two-player co-op. It had a leveling system, and the levels were a bit different. That's neither here nor there. That had nothing to do, well, it did, but it didn't have anything to do with today's video. Today's video, we're going to fast forward a couple years to the sequel to Double Dragon. And while the NES version, which was published by Acclaim, is a very good beat 'em up, it's still a bit different from its arcade older brother. Today's game is, obviously, Double Dragon 2, The Revenge. Now, Double Dragon 2, the storyline is, as far as story goes, there are some things that are still close to the arcade version. Marion is gunned down, and Billy and Jimmy Lee go on a rampage, waging war against the Shadow Warriors. And their mission in the NES version takes them across 8 different missions. From submarines, helicopters, construction sites, woods, caves, all over the place, fighting the Shadow King. This game is different from the NES version that was released on the NES because, well, the NES version that was published by Trade West, I should say, because it features 2-player simultaneous gameplay, which was a big selling point for this title. That was one of those things that Acclaim pushed for some reason. Simultaneous 2-player gameplay. There was also 2 different co-op modes. One that didn't allow you to hit the second player, and one that caused you to damage the second player. In addition to that, there were 3 different difficulty levels that actually varied the length of the game. And the only way you could get the true ending to the title was to play I want to say it's the Grandmaster difficulty. I don't remember exactly. And that's how you get the true ending, with Marion actually not being dead or being resurrected. There are also more attacks in this version. Well, new attacks in this version. Whereas there was a leveling system in the NES port of the first game. In this one, you have a lot of different attacks at your disposal early on, and you don't have to level up in order to do them. You also have some special attacks like the Hurricane Kick, which was new to the series via this game, as well as the Super Knee Lift and the Super Uppercut, which are more hidden moves than anything else. And you if you didn't have an instruction manual the first time you played this game, like a lot of us didn't have, you would have to learn that through either stumbling across it in Nintendo Power or a friend telling you about it or something like that, because the internet wasn't a thing back then for a lot of people, well, for most of America. And the only way to really learn stuff was from word of mouth, from game magazines, those game players, guides, videotapes, or the Nintendo tip line, which nobody's parents paid for. Double Dragon 2 was actually, if you really want to be honest about it, may have been better than the first title. While the first title was really, really good, this one had its quirks that were actually superior to the second game. So kudos to Technos Japan for crafting a better sequel than its first title. It ditched the unnecessary versus mode, because nobody really wants the versus mode in Double Dragon. And it gave us a polished, streamlined experience that was... There was an attempt at a remake, I want to say either earlier in 2013 or in late 2012 on Xbox Live Arcade, and it was terrible. But that's neither here nor there. You find a copy of Double Dragon 2, pick up a copy of Double Dragon 2. Double Dragon 2 is a lot of fun, even for an Acclaim title, so they weren't all bad. This has been 8-Bit Animal. I'll catch you beautiful people tomorrow.